Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, a topic that I wanted you and I to discuss quickly. It was a topic that I've wanted us to discuss for quite some time, but we haven't had the opportunity, and now we're going to do so. But it's Turki Alashikh. Now, Turki has been presented by some as being, the savior of boxing. They've talked about that he's going to consolidate all the promotional companies and have one entity similar to UFC, and that would create the opportunity to see all the biggest and best fights. Now, Oscar De La Hoya has recently dismissed that, saying that he has not been approached by anyone in terms of buying his company or consolidating the entities within the sport. But Turki Alashikh has done a good job in terms of bringing all the promotional entities together to make cards. We've heard Steven Espinosa talk about this. We've heard Jim Lampley talk about this. Turki Alashikh is not the first player to get into boxing. Turki Alashikh is not the first player to talk about a consolidated model relative to boxing. So this is nothing new. And just because he has a lot of money, there's been other folks who've gotten into the organization or gotten into boxing with a lot of money, and they have not been able to really make that dent and create a consolidated organization relative to boxing. Now, what's interesting is that people believe that Turki Alashikh is substantially different from the model that we currently have. Recently, I was just doing some reading and found out that both the WBC and the WBA have agreements, have partnerships, if you will, with Turki Alashikh in Riyadh. Now, why would they have partnerships with Riyadh? What does the sanctioning body? I could see a partnership maybe with the promotional companies because they're providing the actual fighters. But why do they have partnerships with the WBC and the WBA? It makes no sense to me personally. Now, I'm going to use this as an example, and I don't want anybody to consider this hate towards anybody because it's not, but it's just an example. You got Terence Crawford, who moved up to 154 pounds. He's going to get a direct, or should have gotten a direct shot at whoever the winner was out of Fundora and Tim Tszyu. We get that, right? Because within the WBO rules, they have the status of super champion. And so you get that opportunity. But Terence Crawford moved up. He wasn't even ranked by the WBA at the time, yet he's getting the opportunity to fight Israel Madrimov. And then the WBC has recently announced that the winner out of Spence and Fundora, if I'm not mistaken, they will be forced to face Terence Crawford. So even the WBC is forcing whoever wins. So say, for instance, they get stripped. Fundora gets stripped and he has a WBC title, or Spence has a WBC title. They're mandating that person defends against Terence Crawford. That's not what you typically do. You don't typically mandate that your champion fight another champion. That's not what they do. So it's strange. And I believe it's happening because of the affiliation with Turki Alashikh and Turki Alashikh's affiliation with Terence Crawford. So, and I'm not saying it's good or it's bad in this particular conversation, but what I am saying is, how is that any different from the model we currently have? Because you have promoters that are tied in with the sanctioning bodies, and their fighters are getting positioned to get titles, or they're already champions just by virtue of being associated with a certain promoter or manager. So I don't see where the model was substantially changed from what we've already, or what we've currently seen over the last few years in terms of boxing with Turki Alashikh at the head. He's still showing favoritism towards a specific boxer that is associated with him, and a boxer that is an ambassador to Riyadh, right? So I don't really see the difference. And because I don't see the difference, even if he does have the ability to consolidate boxing, I don't see where it's going to substantially change, because you're still going to have situations where you're favoring certain boxers over the other. Like, using this as an example, you're calling for a Terence Crawford versus Canelo fight, but yet you're not calling for a David Benavidez fight versus Canelo when the fans are calling for that. You're calling for David Benavidez to fight at 175. So is there any bias in that? More than likely, yeah. And it's because you have an association with Crawford, and you want Crawford to get that title opportunity. So those are my thoughts, Jay. I want to pass it to you because we've heard so much about this, and I don't really see it as being substantially different. I'm not saying that I don't like it or like it. I just don't see it as being substantially different.
I mean, it's not really that different. It's just a different face. It's a new shiny toy that's out there right now. He's made a little noise by making some fights that some people want to see and just made a huge cards. Not necessarily 50-50 fights per se that he's all also made, but most of the cards have some names on it. The card that's featuring Bud has some names on it, on there. But let's be real with that card there. The best fight on there that was supposed to be under Tim Zoo and Virgil Ortiz is no longer on there. So he's putting some fights on there. We're getting to see fights. Boxing fans want to see matches. They want to see fights. That's what he's been doing. So I give him credit on that. I give him credit for stepping across the aisle, having multiple promoting fighters from different promotional companies on his cards. Now, him being that close to the WBA, WBC, that means he's going to be able to kind of navigate things to the people that he really wants to see fight, in a sense. So I mean, he's going to be protect. Someone's going to get left out one way or another. It's no perfect fix for it, and it's going to be along the same lines. People are going to get tired of him saying that, oh, X fighter is always going to be fighting. This amount of fighters going to fight always on the WBA or WBC. He's always going to have that, no matter if they've earned it or not. We've seen that with other promotional companies with different sanctioning bodies, whether it's be the PBC, Top Rank, Golden Boy, Matchroom. They all have their sanctioning body that they're cushy with to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't think it's going to be too much of a difference. It's just a different flavor, a new face. People are always infatuated with the new shiny toy. They're tired of the same old, same old. So try something new. Hopefully, it won't end up being that way, but it's looking like it is already. With the way Bud has been allowed to move around at 154, and then the mandate of the him versus Fundora and Spence. No different than how Spence got a business proposition basically to fight Fundora for the title. Is going straight up to 154, coming off a TKO loss of Bud. So we've seen this before. It's going to continue to happen. That's just the nature of the business. Just a new face, but we'll see how much he dabbles in having his guys on be part of WBA, WBC in this regard here versus other promotional companies.
Yep. Yep. No, I don't disagree. And that's a great point to bring up, Arrow, because Arrow's association and affiliation with the WBC through PBC is more than likely the reason why he's able to move straight to 54 and get the opportunity to fight Fundora, and maybe a little bit of popularity. So, I mean, it's an interesting topic. Uh, I know some people are gonna take this video as hate because anything that's said is hate, but at the end of the day, this is just a perspective. I don't really see it as being substantially different at all. So you guys tell us what you think in the comments section in regards to this particular topic. Turki Alashikh, good for the sport. I'm not saying that he's not. I think we all agree on that in regards to getting the biggest and best fights. But is it really substantially different when he's already in bed with the sanctioning body and showing some level of favoritism towards a specific fighter? Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.